Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in again to another episode of CivilianTacticalWeapons.com. Today's episode is actually be a combination of a bunch of different episodes I've actually done in regards to home defense. And what I'm doing here is actually combining all of these into a single segment. Since the general question about home defense comes up so often, I decided to go ahead and combine a lot of these. So, first thing I want to cover is actually choices and options when you're looking at home defense guns. You want to think about, one, when you're looking for a gun for home defense. I'll show you what my setup is. Everyone always asks me, they watch my episodes like, well, what do you use to defend yourself? And someone breaks in, what would be the first gun you grab? We'll actually keep an HK-45 with, go ahead and share all this with you guys in case you guys are curious about. This has the Hornady tap rounds in it. And I have a Procyon XTI. It's actually made by Insight light on the bottom. It's an LED. As you can see, it's actually very bright. A very powerful LED system. I want to be able to make sure I can correctly identify before I engage whatever threat is in my house. So you need to make sure, it's very critical, you have some form of a lighting system if you are going to be concerned about engaging targets at night. And your house is a good example of this. With this gun normally would actually stay chambered. It'd actually be chambered inside, sitting right in here. The safety would remain on, but the actual hammer would actually be cocked back, and this is how I actually keep the gun. So what I would do with this particular gun safe, this is one that's a bedside safe. You can drill this down into whatever furniture, nightstand you have by. You actually push out the code on the top. Now, to be totally honest with you, buying one net new today, this one here is, you don't want to skimp, don't want to buy some $80 safe. You do want to buy a safe that's going to cost you about a couple $100 is what a good gun safe is. You want to make sure you have a double layer gun safe. And this, I'd actually recommend you may want to look at biometric models. My experience is in times of stress, someone being able to type out a very simple combo in any way, shape, or form is can get very confusing for some people. So what I recommend is you may want to look at a biometric where I put my finger on there. If you have whatever your spouse, girlfriend, whatever is in the bed, which they're able to do is they're able to go ahead and operate if you're not at home. The other thing to do is you want to make sure you have two guns. The second gun here, if you are having, if you do have a spouse, wife, girlfriend, whatever, what you want to make sure is you have a second gun that they are capable and are comfortable with operating. You need to at least make sure you take whatever gun you're going to use for home defense. This one here is actually a Smith & Wesson M&P 9L custom triggers, feed ramps, all the other stuff you've seen in the past. I've also got another light on here. This one's actually a Streamlight system. And what I'm able to do here, have 17 shots of the Winchester SXT ammo in here. And really this type of setup is designed for, I got 17 rounds, it's designed for the secondary person who, is going to have to defend themselves. Remember, when you are looking at home defense, it's not a single gun, it's what guns do I need for home defense. Because in the scenario here, you would go ahead and have, the alarm would go off, the code would be punched, I'd be taking this gun, and then I'd go ahead and clear my own house. Well, if I'm clearing the home house, if you have someone else still staying back in the bedroom, how are they defending themselves? You have to have a secondary gun. It's very critical that you actually consider this in your home defense. Now, the other thing you have to consider here too is communication. So we actually talked about this last episode. If you are going to separate yourselves to go search your own house, you want to make sure you have some form of communication. I'm not going to go into particular models and stuff. You want to make sure it's something that'll operate at the far reaches of your house. This way I'm able to go ahead and communicate. You want to have voice activated, whisper type modes on whatever communication gear you have. So I'm able to talk to the person who's going to stay back in the bedroom the whole time about my current situation. You want to be able to give a sit rep to whoever's who's also in the house. You can also hear if they hear noises. You may be able to actually assist in creating some form of an ambush of someone. If you've checked some part of the room and someone's heading towards the master bedroom or whatever, they can alert you to noises and you can go ahead and come in from behind. So what you want to be able to make sure is you have that type of information. So if we talk about the order of priorities, I also keep level 3A body armor next to the bed. That's actually also part of this whole home defense plan that I personally use. So if the alarm goes off, the first thing I do is type in the code here, secure my firearm. Once I have my firearm secured, I would go ahead the next step, have the firearm next to me, toss the body armor on, and keep in mind I'm doing this on the farthest side of the bed that is to the main entryway into the master bedroom. I'd secure my communications gear, and then I would actually go ahead and start clearing my house. The other thing that we actually keep is these Celox packs. I actually have multiple packs, and they're actually kind of scattered around the house. Celox is a blood clotting agent in case you have an incident where you end up getting shot. In any type of home defense scenario, you have to be prepared to, under the uneventful and unfortunate incident that you may end up getting shot by the intruder, you want to be able to make sure you're not bleeding out. So what I actually do is I do keep the Celox available so that it is a blood clotting agent to be able to go ahead and deal with those wounds. So that in a nutshell is kind of how I actually have my personal home defense system set up. We take about different layers, defense and depth type scenarios. So I've actually got, my offensive weaponry is actually my 45 HK, HK45. I've got, Hornady tap rounds, they're super expansion rounds. Secondary weapon for secondary person in the bedroom. Communication to be able to communicate with that person. And as for a defensive mechanism, I do have the level 3A body armor to protect vitals. So anyways, I hope that's good information for you. I know a lot of you keep asking me these kind of very similar questions over and over again about home defense. I figured I'd combine them all into a single episode and let you go ahead and watch this from beginning to end. Keep in mind, if you do have kids in your home, do not utilize this as your only method of storing your guns. This is the nighttime storage of your weapons, meaning you want to have a full-blown gun safe where you actually have the guns stored during the day, which is a big, massive, heavy gun safe that your kid is not going to be able to get into, versus one of these. These are not designed to prevent a kid who has your average teenager has enough time during the day will break this thing open. You can take a crowbar to this and eventually break this thing open. This is all about making it so that if this was next to your bed and you were sleeping, that your kid couldn't go in there while you're sleeping and steal your gun. He would be making a heck of a lot of noise to most likely get into this. So what you want to do is have this thing secured next to the bed, but don't have it where a kid could spend all day trying to get to it while you're at work. So this is what you would store it at night, but you do want to make sure you have another gun safe to actually secure the weapon. I don't actually run into this scenario because I don't have kids, but if you do have kids, you do want to make sure you do take that into consideration. So anyways, if you have any questions, please email me at info@civiliantacticalweapons.com, and I hope to see you in a future episode.